GA here. I'm at a networking event for Porsche owners, all right? I told you guys about something in particular. I want to speak on it just for a little bit before I go into the main topic. Is in the first video that I introduced the Black Panther right here. I believe that's going to be the temporary name. In the first video, I talked about the Porsche or any car like this being a networking tool, all right? And a couple people made fun of that in the comment section. But what you have to understand is when you get an item like this, or you create an item, it is a networking tool. It allows you to get entry into a place where most people don't get entry in. You know, like a home. You buy a home in a neighborhood, especially a good neighborhood. That is an admission ticket into a conversation, at least a conversation, or an entrance ticket into a trust or a community. That's the same thing with these type of cars. Or you buy an item like this, it's an admission ticket to a conversation. It's the same thing as when we talk about when I write a book as an author. That's an admission ticket into a whole bunch of other things, like specifically public speaking, all right, which gets you into potentially interviews and television and all of those things. So when I say the Porsche is a networking tool, it is exactly that. This allows me entry into this particular group or club. Look at my man right here. All right, my man right here doing it, stunting with his old time Porsche right there. Hey, and in the comment section, man, if you correct me and say Porsche when I say Porsche, all right, just go ahead and give them the thumbs down when they do that. We already know, man, and listen, when you're in the club, you can be bougie like that. But when you write a book, you get an admission ticket into a group. This particular club has many men, wealthy men, doctors, lawyers, or whatever, and just having this item is a networking tool. It's an admission into that club. It starts a conversation. And especially if you are an entrepreneur, if you're a self-starter, you're self-employed, or you have a product, you can start that conversation by just having this particular ticket item. So that's what I want to clear up about it being a networking tool. Also, particularly with women, it is a networking tool. You're going to start a conversation. It's a conversation starter. Right when I pulled up, there was a nice couple, beautiful blonde, iron aboard, Kaylee, by the way, and her little son was running around looking at all the cars here. Said the son loves Porsches, all right, and the husband was forced to sell his Porsche when they got married and had the kid, so he was a little bit envious. But they had complimentary things to say about my car and all the cars here. And so that right there is a conversation starter. It's a networking tool. It's an admission ticket into something bigger. And not only that, with that being said, if you are an entrepreneur, you're self-employed, or you want to meet people who can help you with your business down the line, consider investing in this, because it would pay for itself by the connections you make with your networking tool. All right, man, we're going to get back into the show here with the main topic. Stay tuned. Let's talk about the point of all this. Let's talk about this midlife crisis. One of the most common things to talk about a man who's probably in his 40s or 50s or something like that, and he starts to revert back to buying toys, all right? He might buy a boat, a motorcycle. He might buy a car. He might start buying some toys from his past, and he might start going on a buying spree. He might be interested in some young junior college piping hot pieces of peace leave, all right? He might be wanting to go get some of that young tail that he's been fantasizing about as his wife been getting up and blowing up like the Goodyear blimp, all right? So one of the things that they'll say in our society is that man is going through a midlife crisis. Now, let me tell you what a midlife crisis really means, all right? What it means is they're using shaming language to attack a man who has now reached a portion of his financial peak and now can afford to buy or participate or he now can afford to get himself a young piece of piping hot pay sleeve, all right? Or he might use some of these things to attract a nice piece of tail. See, a man in his 40s, maybe going into his 50s, possibly going into his 40s. So you're in your mid 30s, going to your 40s. You probably don't have a lot of money, all right? Very few men have a lot of money. In fact, the average billionaire is about age 62, with the majority of the billionaires 50s, 60s, and 70s. There are some young millionaires, but it is actually rare to have somebody that is a millionaire, or at least financially feasible, at the age of 20 and 30. And so what typically happens is, in your 20s and 30s, you're trying to accrue all of these things. You're trying to, use love in order to attract the woman that you have. And you're so lucky to attract the woman that you have and keep her well into your 40s. Guess what? You're probably just reaching a point where you have disposable income. And now that you have disposable income, what do you do with it? Well, let's just say, and I apologize for the wind, let's just say you reach your financial peak, all right? And I'm going to show you the chart. Let me put the chart up. Most women out earn men in the early 30s, all right, early 20s into the 30s. And so you're trying to build up. Now, let's say you got married and you're now in the age range of 35, 40. Your kids are getting older. They're becoming more independent. They can feed themselves. They can wipe their own rear end. They're now going in from high school into college, and now you saved all that money for them to go off to college, and now you're headed to empty nester. Okay? Your kids become financially feasible on their own. You've done a good job. You've raised the blue chip mentality. And guess what? Now, you have extra money. You have extra money. And now, what do you do with that money? Well, you're going to start doing the things that you wish you had done in your 20s and 30s. Now, let's just say you don't even have kids. By the time you reach a point to where you are financially independent, it's probably going to take into your 40s to get there, until you're comfortable and have disposable income. So what are you going to do? Are you going to buy the things that you really wished you was going to buy, or you could have bought when you're 20s and 30s? So what typically happens is, when this man reaches his end of his 30s into his 40s and he starts buying those things, the world says, you're going through a midlife crisis. Now, what that is shaming language. And I know I don't like to use that term, shaming language, but what that is them trying to tell you, you can't enjoy the fruits of your labor. You can't enjoy now the things that you wish you had and you sacrificed yourself for. You sacrificed for your wife, for your kids, or you sacrificed in the dating landscape. You paid all the wedding rings, engagement rings. You suffered all the suffering you went through to try to build your life and get the validation that you needed back from your family. God forbid you've been through a divorce. And now, all of a sudden, you got the ducats, you got the dough. And what do they want you to do with it? Sacrifice for more, all right? Get these busted Pillsbury biscuit cans. They want you to marry up more 40-year-olds. They want you to not spend that money, not spend that disposable income. And then they want, in turn, you to continue to sacrifice. And when you don't, they say you're going through a midlife crisis. Guys, it is one of the biggest myths out here that men go through a midlife crisis. They don't really, not until the end of their life, all right? Not until they're 60, and God forbid they have hair on their head and they enter the senior citizen homes in their 70s. They gonna blow out all the girls' backs, all right? Helen, Ellen, Eleanor, Dorothy, all right? This guy's gonna blow out plenty of blacks, all right? Frank with the good hair, all right? And he got the beard. Don't let him be able to dance. If he can swing or do the sock hop, this dude gonna be blowing backs out there. That's gonna be his midlife crisis. For women, they go through a midlife crisis very early in life, like around 28. That's when they start saying, what happened? Where did all the good men go? That's when they start saying, I need to marry up. I need to settle down. That's when they say, I'm looking for something serious, and they hop off the carousel. That's when women go through a midlife crisis. Nobody shames them for that. Actually, we do. But the reality is, men who start buying toys for themselves because they have the disposable income, that's not a midlife crisis. What that is people still want that man to sacrifice for others now that he's got it, all right? Never fall for that. Never fall for that. Anyway, man, thanks for joining me for this particular vlog. Man, I love doing these. Do me a favor, man. Check out the coaching program that we have going on, the Money Mindset program. Check that out here. And also, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and we're going to be back with live streams during the week. Peace.